Hey all and welcome back to Liquid Earth. I'm Age, and in today's episode we'll cover a comprehensive tutorial on the graduated filter in Lightroom Classic CC. First thing we need to do is, from the develop module, go into the graduated filter, which is this little icon here, or you can press M as a shortcut. The graduated filter allows us to make selective edits to parts of the image. And when you press the graduated filter tool, you get this palette of effects that you can apply to the grad. So let's make a simple adjustment. Let's reduce our exposure to, let's say, 1.5 or so. Now nothing happens until you start to drag on the image. So drag from the top down and you can see that the graduated filter effect is now being applied to the image. The effect is graduated from the top line at 100% right down to the bottom line at 0%. So everything above the top line is also 100% and anything below is 0. And you can just adjust the size of the grad. You can move the angle of the grad. You can even adjust in different directions. So we can go from side to side, from left to right, from right to left, or from bottom to top if we want. So let's take this grad down. Now if you press the shift key, it takes the grad down in a perfectly straight line. And as soon as I've released, I've set the grad in place. But you can adjust it afterwards. You just hover over these lines and you can pull them up or down. You can rotate by hovering over the middle line here. And again, if you want a straight line, you can press the shift and drag down and it will drag it in a straight line. Let's just rotate this one a little and let's start off here. Now with the grad selected, I can make any further adjustments over in the panel, so I can add more than just one effect at a time. So let's say we want to add some clarity to the image, some dehaze, and let's pull a bit of saturation in on the image as well. So all of those effects are now applied and we can press the backslash key to see what the image looked like before and after. If you want to hide the grad filter, then press the H and that will toggle hide on and off. Down in the bottom left here, you can even put an overlay on your image. And if you press the Shift and O, you can toggle through various colours for your overlay. Let's select this off for now. On the left hand side here, you've got Show Edit Pins, so you can always show. This shows selected if you have more than one grad filter on your image. Or you can never show. If we choose auto here, it will show until I come off of the image and then it automatically hides and applies again. Let's put this as always for the minute. Now if you want to paint in more of the effect to other parts of the image, you can use the brush tool that keeps the parameters that you have set here. And you've got size, feather and flow at the bottom here. So let's adjust that and let's paint in some information at the bottom here. And then if I press the overlay, you can see that I've now added more to the image. But I don't want that, so let's delete that. And let's turn off the overlay. And let's add another graduated filter to the image. To do that, we'll press the new here. And now I'm going to drag from the bottom up. And this time, notice that my effects are still on here. If I double click effect, I can reset the panel. Let's increase the exposure on this particular one, and in fact let's add some shadows. And again we can press the backslash key and you can see the before and the after. At any time you can come and select these pins to select different grads, and if we've overdone our effect we can just change it here. Let's take our highlights down a little bit on this top image. And let's choose the bottom one and just take the exposure down a little bit. Press H to hide and now backslash to see the before and after image. Now the great thing about the grad filter is that you can save presets. So let's select this top one. If this is a setting that you're applying all of the time, say for instance we're bringing our exposure down to roughly 1, highlights down and adding a little bit of clarity and saturation. I'm going to choose this custom drop down here and save current settings as a new preset. Let me just call that Sky Grad and press create. And now we can go into another image. Let's choose this one. Let's make a couple of tweaks first of all. To apply the grad, we're going to press our grad button. We're already on the Sky Grad, but if you wasn't, then you can choose it from here. Choose your preset, drag out. Again, you can press the H to hide or show. Make some finer adjustments. And there we've applied the preset. Now of course we might want to make some finer adjustments accordingly, and you can do in your settings here. Now if we've applied this grad, let's say we've moved it here and we press the overlay, notice that the overlay is also on these mountain areas and we might not want that. We can erase that by using our brush, and this time choosing the erase tool. If we auto mask as well, we can now increase with the mouse or your bracket keys. We can now drag over to delete parts of the mask of the image. Because we've got auto mask on, we can come around like so, and it's not affecting the sky. Now you'll need to make some finer adjustments because we've got the auto mask on. There are areas that it's still not picking up. So deselect the auto mask, erase some of the areas that you don't want, make the brush as big as you want. Let's just do a quick rough brush over, and you can take your time. Let's reduce my feathering to finish it off. Yeah, you get the idea. If you make a mistake, Command Z to go back on that one area. Let's deselect our mask overlay. And now we've affected mainly the sky, and we've deleted parts of the mask on the other area. Now let's take a look at some other images. So let's try this one. Let me get a full screen up here. Let's add a mask first of all. Let's reset our effects. Let's drag from right to left this time. And darken down our sky a little bit. Add some clarity, dehaze. Let's go mad on this one just to show you the effect. So now we've applied that graduated effect. Let's show you the overlay again. But you can see we've now affected the building. So similar to the last one, but this time we can make it easier to deselect rather than using the brush tool. Let's show you another trick. At the bottom here you can see you've got range mask. Let's choose colour as our range mask. We only want to affect the blue colour in this image. That way we know it won't affect the buildings. To do that, you press this little eyedropper tool and you can click on the blue area. In fact, if you shift, you can choose lots of different colour blues, like so. And now if we press our mask overlay, you can see it hasn't affected the buildings. Another way you can do it is you can drag out a block of colour. That applies the range to all the luminance of that colour, again without affecting any of the other colours. And you can easily see that by pressing the before and after. It's just affected the sky. Press enter and we're applying our grad filter. Okay, let's choose this image next. Let's take our exposure down. Let's drag a filter from right to left this time. And now we're going to choose luminance instead of colour. Choose the eyedropper tool. Now you can select any area of the image, such as this. And if we press the show luminance mask, you can see the area that's been masked out. So I've pressed a light colour. If I press a dark colour, you can see it's only going to affect those dark areas. But for this instance, we'll choose the skin, and then we're just darkening down the sky. And if we turn our luminance mask back off again, you can see we've evened out the sky in the top there. Let's try another. So for this image, let's pull a grad down from top to bottom. Perhaps we'll try our template on this one. So it was called Sky Grad. Here's all of the effects that have been applied. Let's just adjust this a little bit. Spin it around. Okay. Before and after. So it's done a pretty good job. Let's give this a go with the range mask and colour option. Press our eyedropper tool. Let's say we only want to affect the pinks in this image. Let's drag out some of those reds and pink areas. And now you can see it's deselected the blue areas and it's only applied that to the pink areas. Let's show you with the mask overlay. Pretty hard to see because it's already pink, so let's press the Shift and O and choose the green overlay, and you can see where it's applied that effect. If we press the Shift, we can add further areas. So now I've got this area and this area affected, and you can see the green overlay on there has been applied. Let's turn off the mask overlay. You can see where the image has now been affected. I'm going to remove those so that we've got our original grad on there. Let's add another grad, this time from the bottom to the top. So we'll press New, drag up, and this time we're going to reset by double clicking and bring our exposure up a little bit. Press the H to hide and the / key to see the before and the after. What about this one? Very similar, I think. Let's show you how quickly we can do this. So we're going to drag down our filter. Remember, I pressed the H so it's not showing, so I'm going to press it again, rotate that. Far too dark. Let's just double click to reset this. Let's take our exposure down a tad. But let's increase our saturation. Too much. Let's add a new filter, drag from the bottom. This time we're going to increase the exposure, double click, it will remember as the last setting. So we've increased the exposure, but also I want to bring up the shadows. So we can now bring out the shadows in those rocks. And you have a completely different effect. Let's try this one, come down with the exposure, maybe the highlights down a little bit. Add a new filter. Let's do a more abrupt filter effect here. Increase the exposure. Maybe increase the shadows. Add a little bit of contrast to our image. And some saturation. I'm going to go back into my top pin. I'm going to add some saturation into that as well. And then press the H to hide, / to see the before and the after. And that preset had a pretty good effect on that image, quite like it. And we can make any other adjustments to the image. Let's choose our brush, reset the effect, increase our exposure, shadows, and let's put a lot of clarity on this. And let's just paint in this floor area here to really highlight this trail coming through here. And again, let's press the / key to see before and after. So for this image, we'll crop first of all to get rid of this camera vignette. Let's straighten the image and then use our graduated filter tool. So for this one, darken, let's reset actually first. Let's darken the sky, add some clarity and some dehaze and some saturation. And let's choose another grad. Press the new, drag from the bottom up. In fact, I'm going to move this roughly to the center. Reset and take the exposure up and our shadows, bring out some detail. Before and after. Definitely want to darken the sky down on this one. Let's try our preset again. Okay, too dark. Let's just make some tweaks there. Perfect. Well, that's it guys. I hope that was useful for you. If it was, give me the thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. Consider subscribing. I post these every single week. along with a lot of other camera and photography tips and tricks. Thanks again guys, I will see you next time.